I will not confirm anything today. I would like to express our deep concern and France's friendship towards the Malagasy people. Basically, I have two messages. I think it is very important that constitutional order and institutional continuity be preserved in Madagascar because the stability of the country and the interests of the population are at stake, so that the international community can continue to help. Because if the international order were broken, we know what would happen. Madagascar has already experienced this, and obviously the first victims would be the population.
Several of Rajoelina's inner circle have fled to nearby Mauritius. Despite its abundant natural resources, Madagascar is one of the poorest countries in the world. About 75% of people there live below the poverty line. The World Bank says, while data from the International Monetary Fund shows just over 1/3 of people have access to electricity. The protests began over anger with repeated water and power cuts, then escalated to reflect wider dissatisfaction with Rajoelina's government over high unemployment, corruption and the cost of living crises. At least 22 people were killed and more than 100 were injured in the first few days of the protests, and that's according to the United Nations, although the government has rejected these figures. Madagascar has been rocked by multiple uprisings since it gained independence in 1960, including mass protests in 2009 that forced then-President Marc Ravalomanana to step down, and so Rajoelina ushered into office. Africa Bureau, WION, World is One. Cameroon's opposition challenger Issa Chiroma Bakary is claiming an overwhelming election victory against incumbent President Paul Biya, who has been in power for 43 years. Today, a new era begins. Today is a time for change, he says. Official results from the October 12th vote are not expected for another 2 weeks. Here's a report.
Vote counting is underway in Cameroon following Sunday's presidential election, in which incumbent Paul Biya is seeking to extend his 43 years in power. Biya, who at 92 is the world's oldest head of state, is being challenged by 9 candidates. If he wins, it will be his 8th consecutive term in office, with the next election due in 2032. The final result should be known within 15 days of the vote, but opposition leader and former minister Issa Chiroma Bakary, 76, declared victory in Cameroon's presidential election, calling it the start of a new era. He urged officials to respect the people's choice and calls on the ruling authorities to honor the result.
Today, I speak to you with deep emotion and immense pride. Together, we have made history. During this campaign, I saw a Cameroon that stands tall. I saw women and men, young and old, who faced threats and intimidation, but remained united and determined. The people have made their choice, and that choice must be respected. I call on all institutions, all administrative authorities, and all officials not to become enemies of the people they are meant to serve.
In the run-up to the election, there were complaints from the opposition of attempts to suppress their support. In August, the Constitutional Council barred 71-year-old Maurice Kamto, widely viewed as the main challenger, from taking part. Angry supporters of leading opposition candidate and former Biya LI, Issa Chiroma Bakary, took to the streets in his stronghold of Garua. They clashed with security forces who fired tear gas after his residence was cordoned off. Most young Cameroonians have known only one president in their lifetime, Paul Biya. Cameroon's first-time voters are torn between change and continuity.
Of course, I'm in favor of change. Very strong about that. I'm in support of a real change in Cameroon, because for so long we have been, I don't know if to say we have been caged in some sort of political egoism that the president does not take into consideration the interest of the people.
My motivation for choosing candidate Paul Biya is simply because I'm 24 years old And by the time I was born, he was already halfway through his mandate. He's the only president I've ever known. And since I'm not sure that if there is a change in leadership, Cameroon will remain peaceful, I prefer to vote for him to avoid unrest or instability. It's better to stay with someone we know.
Paul Biya has promised Cameroon's electorate the best is still to come as he seeks his 8th consecutive presidential term on Sunday. The nonagenarian has already been in power since 1982. Another 7-year mandate could see him rule for 50 years until he will be almost 100. He defied widespread calls to step down and has been criticized for only showing up for one rally, spending most of the campaign period on a 10-day private trip to Europe. A backlash over his reliance on an AI-generated campaign video, as his opponents actively wooed voters on the ground, saw him rush north on his return home. In the vote-rich city of Marua, he addressed crowds of his party supporters, reaching out in particular to women and young people, promising to prioritize their plight in his next mandate.
Despite the difficulties of everyday life, despite the false omens, the slanders, the delusions, yes, dear friends, you have remained faithful to the institutions since my accession to the supreme magistracy. You have remained rock solid in your commitment to me.
The presidential election comes amid growing concerns about inflation, security challenges, poor social services, and corruption. Youth unemployment has been a particular talking point for most of the candidates running in the election. Nearly 40% of young Cameroonians between the ages of 15 and 35 are unemployed, with 23% of young graduates facing challenges in obtaining formal employment, according to the International Organization for Migration, IOM. Africa Bureau, WION, World is One.
In a first-of-its-kind fashion show in Kenya, designer Morgan Azedi showcased his upcycled outfits made from waste collected at dump sites and market cast-offs. Every year, thousands of tons of used clothes from Europe, the United States, and beyond make their way to Kenya, which in 2023 overtook Nigeria to become Africa's largest importer of second-hand clothing.
In a dusty alley in the heart of Kenya's largest open-air market, fashion models strut down a makeshift runway in bold, upcycled outfits made from waste collected at dump sites and market cast-offs, proof that even trash can dazzle. Every year, thousands of tons of used clothes from Europe, the United States, and beyond make their way to Kenya. On a sunny afternoon last week, a huge crowd gathered to watch models sashay and pivot, showcasing pieces from bales once discarded as unwearable or unsellable. Gikomba Runway Edition brought together young, underground Kenyan designers and stylists for the first time, including 25-year-old upcycling specialist Morgan Azedi.
Okay, first of all, I'm happy about that event because the location, according to me, the location is good. It's the place where I'm getting my materials. So the theme I'll do in that fashion event, I'm going with streetwear. The streetwear I'll use denim. Then I'll also do gothic. So gothic I'll use leather. Yes. So I'm happy. I'm just waiting for the event.
In 2023, Kenya overtook Nigeria to become Africa's largest importer of second-hand clothing, according to a study from the US-based Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT. Thousands of these bales land in Gikomba Market near central Nairobi, where tin-roofed stalls stretch across a 5-acre labyrinth, one of the city's major economic hubs. Kenya imported about 197,000 tons of second-hand clothes worth $298 million in 2023, according to the MIT study. The Environment for Development, a global research network, estimates that around a third are unusable items that end up in landfills, mostly made from plastic-based materials like nylon and polyester that does not biodegrade.
I'll just tell people to stop throwing stuffs. Like, we should conserve our environment, because these waste products, I personally can change them to new things. And these waste products can make someone to be rich. These waste products we are throwing can change the life of many people in our society.
The influx of second-hand clothes has employed hundreds of thousands of people across East Africa, from port handlers to traders, and provided a lot of affordable clothing. But it has also made it hard for domestic textile firms to get off the ground. The East African community of 8 regional countries tried to impose a ban in 2016 in the hope of boosting local textile production.
Well, I came about upcycling when I realized there's a lot of good materials that are going to waste, and I figured why not use them, because they're also good quality, and the new ones are not as good actually as the upcycled ones. So yeah.
For Azadi, the downside of the trade deals, mountains of discarded clothes piling up in dump sites, is a treasure trove for his creative eye. Buying new fabric, he said, is simply too expensive. He now dreams of taking what others consider trash to the grand stages of New York and Paris. Africa Bureau, WION World is one.
Now, a group of mothers in South Africa have become the talk of Cape Town as they have resorted to surfing as a way to deal with mental health. They say sea therapy makes them forget all the pressure that comes with parenting. Here is their story.
Every Tuesday morning at Muizenberg Beach, mothers gather to trade the pressures of parenting for an hour of sea therapy. Catching waves as part of a free surfing program designed to support women's mental health. The Moms on Board initiative, run by Lifestyle Surf Shop, offers free surfboards, wetsuits and coaching sessions to mothers seeking respite from their daily responsibilities. The program has attracted women of all ages to one of South Africa's most popular surfing beaches, creating a community where motherhood takes a back seat to personal well-being. 75-year-old Joycelyn Early, a Moms on Board member, taught herself to surf by battling the waves at Muizenberg.
Taught myself because even when I never went in, when I couldn't surf, I used to go in and just battle the waves. And that's what actually got me very used to the sea and the waves and the tides and what have you. But I love the ocean. It's just too beautiful. I wish I'd actually started years and years ago, but my life never went that way, and I'm just so grateful for what I'm doing at the moment.
The program has also inspired 64-year-old Tanya Bones, who learned to surf at 59 and recently competed in her first ladies surfing event.
I think that women naturally gather in circles, and I think that women support each other naturally in circles. It's a sisterhood. So where there is a sisterhood, there is a sense of connection and sharing. It's not just about the surfing.
For Emily Innes, who has children with special medical needs, the hour in the water helps her regulate her own nervous system. So when she surfs, it feels like she's getting the ultimate dopamine boost. The No Children Allowed policy ensures mothers have dedicated time to connect with others outside their parenting role. Many participants meet at a nearby coffee shop after surfing to extend the social connection. Tamsin Lee Brown, the program's coach, said surfing saved her life, and she now shares that passion with participants every Tuesday. Many of the mothers arrange their work schedules around the sessions, underscoring the program's importance to their mental health.
And now I get to give my love to all these beautiful, incredible women. And Lifestyle has literally been the family that I always wanted. They've supported me through everything that I've been through, welcomed me back with open arms, and now I get to help all these lovely women every Tuesday morning, 9:30, learn something that literally saved my life. How cool is that? I'll see you later.
Thank you.
Let's go.
Muizenberg Beach, located in Cape Town, is widely considered the home of South African surfing and is famous as one of the best places in the world for beginners to learn the sport. Africa Bureau, WION World is One.
And that's all the buzz in Africa this week. Get in touch with us on all our social media platforms and on our website and share your story from the continent with us. We would love to hear from you. I'm Eric Njoka. Thank you for watching this week's episode of Wild of Africa on WION World is One. It's goodbye from me.
WION Health Resort is unique, the only one of its kind. Experience the 4 paths of natural wellness: yoga, Ayurveda, acupuncture, and naturopathy. Each uniquely customized program improves the whole person to make every person whole. Come to WION Health Resort. Make your reservation at WION.com.
Over, okay? You understand that? This is the historic dawn of a new Middle East.
The best day of my life.
Donald Trump is the greatest friend that the state of Israel has ever had in the White House. Mr. President, you are committed to this peace. I am committed to this peace for their great contribution to this effort.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening, as we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch. WION India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION. World is one.
The Earth is sending distress signals. Wildfires, droughts, and melting glaciers. Can we reverse the damage? Explore the harrowing effects of climate change. It's a wake-up call. Global emergency. Climate Tracker on WION World is One.
Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh. To some, it's an extreme ideology. To others, it's the very soul of India. To some, it's rebellion. To others, it's a principle of nation building. Coming soon to challenge perceptions in RSS centenary year, Kesariya at 100.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening. As we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch. WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION. World is one.
Hello and welcome. You're watching Race to Power. My name is Mohammed Saleh. And on the show today, that the ink on the paper for the ceasefire deal for the Gaza Strip hasn't even dried yet. And the Israeli forces have killed 5 Palestinians, where the IDF claims that the Palestinians were approaching the Israeli forces in a threatening manner. And the IDF had no option but to shoot them down. The question is obviously this: is peace even possible without Palestinian statehood, about which the Trump deal has said precious little? And in France, the beleaguered French Prime Minister Sébastien Lecornu faces his moment of truth as he presents the budget. Will Lecornu succeed in pulling off a miracle, or is France falling headfirst into another bout of political turmoil? But let's of course start with what is happening with respect to the Gaza Strip, where Donald Trump took a victory lap in West Asia. From Israel to Egypt, the American president stole the spotlight, not just the war in the Gaza Strip. He said This is what he claims, that peace has now been established in all of West Asia. He signed a declaration for enduring peace and prosperity. Over 20 world leaders were present as Qatar, Turkey, the United States and Egypt signed on the document. Trump later boasted about his achievement.
Together we've achieved what everybody said was impossible. At long last, we have peace in the Middle East, and it's a very simple expression, peace in the Middle East, and we've heard it for many years, but nobody thought it could ever get there.
But beyond the claims, the fundamental question of Palestinian statehood still remains